Hello everybody, welcome to episode 39 of Papel Podcast. We have hit 400 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible, and I honestly never thought that this would happen. So straight from the start, I want to thank each and every one of you, whether you're a subscriber or a viewer or you've heard about Papel Podcast in some way. You guys have absolutely changed my life, and without this channel and this community and this whole sense of amazing people around you, it's really incredible, and I really owe you guys so much of my happiness for like the last few years, because it's truly been incredible. So thank you so much for the bottom of my heart, and thank you to everybody who's also worked on the podcast or been on the podcast before, like Brendan and Tachi and Ranu and Sean and anyone else who's been a guest on the podcast as well. It's truly been an honor. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, what will we be actually talking about today? Well, I'm actually going to answer a few questions that I've kind of proposed myself, and kind of run down on some Q&A that is from the community and some of our fans, and just general Q&A that I think you guys might want to kind of get some answers for. So this should be a very fun episode, especially for long-term fans. So let's start with the most basic question that I can ask myself. What made me start the podcast? So I started the podcast in 2012. I would have been around 15 years old at that time, which is just absolutely insane. And that was, I'm actually looking up right here, that was July 21st, 2012 was our first ever video uploaded on the channel. And as you guys remember, Brendan from Papel Podcast, he was on the series as well for most of its time. And basically one day I think we just sat down in a lounge, and I remember back then there was an event going on where Lucia's ponytail hairs came out in Global, and for whatever reason only in Global they were in those gacha boxes, so you kind of had to spend a lot of points to try to win them, and not a lot of people were getting very good rates, and the community as a whole was very upset with Natrieve. And I felt like back then it didn't get, like, a lot of people in the community's word didn't really get out. So I made the podcast as a kind of place that lets people in the community have a bigger voice, and hopefully Natrieve listens to those voices and puts the suggestions in and makes the game better. So our first episode was all about the Lucia LOL boxes, as we named it back then, and it's really what started the podcast. I mean, I know before then I had a lot of inspiration with a lot of other Panga kind of news outlets at the time, and I'll definitely talk about that later, but that was really it. We started it because we wanted to give a voice to the community, and I think we've always been consistent about that notice. We've always wanted Papel Podcast to be a place where community members can gather and discuss ideas about Panga. It can be heard by the bigger outlets like, Natrieve Soft, hopefully. And we do know that Natrieve, or at least the staff members and GMs at Panga Global, did listen to our podcast at one point. So that was really cool to see, and the fact that it even got to that point is just absolutely incredible, honestly. Did you think you'd be running the podcast for this long? So we've been running this podcast for 5 years. This year will be our 5th year in June, and that's just absolutely incredible. I don't think I've ever ran a channel for that long, for 5 years, and I honestly didn't think that I'd still be running the channel in 2017 when I was thinking of it back in 2012. It's kind of insane how big and how amazing that this community has gone around this channel, and I'm really truly grateful for everyone. And yeah, I really didn't think it would be going this long. I just didn't think that people were that interested in the content, but a lot of people are, and it's really interesting because if you look out there, we're really one of the only active channels right now that actually reports Panga stuff, let alone, Panga news in general. I mean, back in times like Albatross 18, there are a lot of things like Sweat Drop is the biggest example. He had like 3 different blogs. They change all the time. Like, they were the most famous blogs of Panga. They always covered news. They always covered every single server. And I gained a lot of inspiration from Sweatdrop, and I really wish he was around still, but I'm kind of glad that after he left, we kind of in some way took his place. I'm not saying I could never match the quality of Sweatdrop's work, but we certainly filled that void of kind of one outlet that covers all Panga servers news, and I'm glad we could do that because that's always been a huge thing for me, even since I was like 7. I remember making a website called Panga_news, and I think it was a blogspot website, and that was one of my first things. That was, well before Papel Podcast, and that's really where like all this interest in reporting the news and giving a voice to the community and having one place for everyone to talk to about Panga, that's where it all started really. And I'm glad it continued on into Papel Podcast, so that's really cool. What's been your best memory related to Papel Podcast? I mean, I have so many memories, especially related to Papel Podcast, but I think the best, I don't think there's one single memory, but something I'll never forget is just every time someone's gone up to us in-game or in Discord or in some sort of, lobby or whatever outside of the actual YouTube channel and has said, hey, you're Michael from Papel Podcast, or you're Brendan from Papel Podcast, and that's just been an incredibly cool thing to actually see that, we have people out there who enjoy our content, and it's always so fun to talk to them and play games with them and get feedback with them, because you can't get that through YouTube comments and stuff. And I'll never forget moments like that, and it's been even better in Panga Celebrity, where it's a bit of a smaller community, so everybody kind of knows everybody, and the community's just been incredibly amazing. Like, we all know Leah and Don have been watching Papel Podcast, especially Leah. She's actually contacted me. The first time she contacted me because she was a fan of our work, and that was an incredible moment. So we kind of became friends like that in that way, and I don't know, it's just all bring people together, and I think that's my best memories. It's just meeting my fans and seeing that all these people actually enjoy the work that I put out there and actually get something useful from it too, which is really, really good and really, really useful. Have you made any friends via the podcast? Oh yes, so the most obvious friend I've made via Papel Podcast would be, I'd say, Hachi, because Hachi, I met him because he made a video for the Natural Wind server, which is fresh up when that came out first in Korea, and I requested that I use some of his footage, and he was really honored by that because his channel didn't get much recognition at the time. So I used his footage, I think I credited him, and then he came to the channel, and he was already a big fan. We were already watching each other's channels, which was kind of crazy. And eventually we met up over Skype and stuff, and we hosted a podcast and talked all about the Fresh Up server and the Natural server, and we've been friends for like nearly 3 or 4 years at this point, which is just insane. Like, as if time's passed that quickly, and as if the podcast didn't exist, I probably wouldn't even met Hachi, and that would be so sad. So yeah, I would have to say it's Hachi, and also of course Leah and Don and everyone from the Panga Celebrity community, but especially Leah, because like I said, if it wasn't for the podcast, I'm not sure we would have met, because we all kind of met because we liked each other's content, and that's something incredible, and like I really, really value that and really cherish that. So I'm really glad that I met so many people and have met so many friends. I mean, we also, through Hachi and through the podcast, I also met people like Ranu, so, and Sean, so it's been incredibly cool to meet all these people, and I'm so glad that even after all these years through the podcast, we're still friends, we're still really good people, and I don't know, it's been really good. What's the future for Papel Podcast? Ooh, so this one's a tough one. So, as we know, last year wasn't the best year for Panga. Panga Korea closed down, Panga Global closed down, and we heard nearly no news from, no further news from Panga Mobile. So, it wasn't very good years for Panga last year, though we did get some cool stuff from Japan. And we know that the only 2 servers that are open officially are Panga Thailand and Panga Japan. So the future for Panga as a whole is looking kind of bleak, but as you guys know, there's obviously Panga Celebrity, which I've talked about a lot, and I'm sure you guys know of and are probably even playing on it as well. So that's definitely a thing, and I think the future of Papel Podcast is we will continue to do Panga content for as long as we can, even well after the main servers are gone, because like I've said before, there will always be private servers, there will always be Panga Wii, there will always be Panga PSP, and eventually there will always be Panga Mobile. There's always going to be Panga content out there for us to cover in some way, and as long as you guys stick around and as long as you guys want it, we will do it. We enjoy making it, and I get out just as much enjoyment making the content for you guys as hopefully you guys enjoy watching the content. So there will always be a future for Papel Podcast. But as for specifics, what do I think 2017 is going to be for Papel Podcast? Well, hopefully we share a lot of really cool stuff, and I think this year is going to be a very special year in many different ways. Some I can't talk about yet, but we do know that Panga Mobile should release this year, and we do know that things like Panga Japan and Panga Thailand are continuing to do really, really well, and hopefully no other server closes down, so we'll just have to wait and see. But rest assured, Papel Podcast will be here for a very long time. We've still got so much to cover in so many ways, and Panga just really won't die in a way, so please stay tuned. So that's a few of the questions that I made up for myself, but I actually asked in Discord a few questions from people in the Panga Celebrity community who are fans of the show, if they would like to ask me a question or something like that, and they've replied, and I'll read them out and answer them. So from Cheshi, she wants to know if I want you to explain what your vision of a 2017 World Champion Panga competition would be like. So, a 2017 World Champion Panga competition, that would be really interesting. I'm not sure a World Championship Panga competition would really work now, since there's only 2 servers up, which are Japan and Thailand, so that probably wouldn't work super well, but I think if there was a global server, or if every server was still up in 2017, I think that would be really cool, and I would really like to see that, because I enjoyed watching the World Championships back when they happened in like 2008, and I think they happened again when Wiz City came out and stuff like that. There was a few, but I think they're a really cool way to bring the community a bit closer. It brings all the nations together, so you have developers from all over the globe, Japan, Korea, Thailand, global, they all meet up at the same place and get a chance to actually meet each other, which is really cool. And I think anything that brings the community closer will be very fun and very cool. So, not sure a 2017 championship is gonna happen, but hey, who knows? Maybe it will. Maybe Panga Mobile will come out this year, and maybe we can get something like that. But I would definitely love to see that. That would be very, very cool. So Ab said, answer what's your top 3 favorite games of all times, excluding the Panga series. So this question's incredibly hard to answer. I honestly don't know what my 3 favorite games of all time are. I am a huge Pikmin fan. and generally a huge Nintendo fan. I really don't know what to say. I would say maybe my favorite game of all time would probably have to default to Mario Galaxy 1, because that game was absolutely incredible. I don't think I've played anything that's really ever beat the feeling I got with that game, and the amazing level design and creativity. It was just an overall incredible game. And as for the other two, I'm really not sure. I loved Pikmin 1, and for a lot of nostalgia's sake, but even now that I've played it again, it's still held up really, really well. So I would probably have to throw that into the list. And maybe I'd probably also have to say Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS. That game was such a surprise. It was absolutely incredible. The story was hilarious, the writing was self-aware, it was just so much of what I didn't expect, and I loved every bit of it. I know a lot of people have some issues with the controls, but I thought it was really excellent. So if you guys check out those 3 games, and yes, they're all Nintendo, but I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy, so obviously they're going to be Nintendo. If I had to pick games that weren't Nintendo, I would pick Crash Bandicoot, The Last of Us, and maybe Beyond Two Souls or Heavy Rain. Those are really great Sony games, and I don't think I've really played many Microsoft games, to be honest. They're not really my type of games, but but that's your answer, Ab. So yeah, but obviously Panga PSP, Panga Mobile, and Panga PC and Panga Wii are all my favorite games of all time. Let's be real. So KO wants to know, why do we ban KO? Also, why is KO so great? And also, why is Trump president? Thanks. Thank you, KO. So if you guys don't know, KO is this crazy girl on Panga Celebrity, and she's kind of become a meme in the community. We love her to bits, we all love her, but she's incredibly crazy as well, so no one take her seriously. Jesus himself wants to ban KO.
This entire time, I've been trying to ban KO, but she's just way too good of a hacker.
And that's kind of the meme in the community, that everybody wants to ban KO because she hacks everything every time. So regardless, I'm still going to answer her question. So why do we want to ban KO? Because Jesus says to ban KO. Why is KO so great? Well, she's not. Let's be real. And also, why is Trump president? Because America chose Trump to be president for some reason. I don't know. That's not my issue. I'm from Australia, so good luck with that, America. So that's my answer. Enjoy that, KO. Hashtag ban KO. So Princess Koo says, I'd like to know your favorite 3 of each items. Comets, caddies, mascots, clubs, and custom Panga hit logos. So let's start out with comets. My 3 favorite comets would have to be the Star Comet, the Love Ball Comet, and maybe the Chocolate Comet. Those are my 3 favorites. I all love them, and something they definitely have in common is all very unique and colorful and crazy looking particle effects. I feel like comets, especially now, need new particle effects. I don't think I've seen a new particle effect, or at least an interesting one, in like the last 5 years of Panga, and that's really sad. I don't know why they haven't done that, but get on that, Natrive, make it happen. My 3 favorite caddies. I would have to, I have to put down Dolphini as 1 because it's Dolphini. I have to put down Papel as 2 because it's Papel. I mean, they're both adorable. And I think I'll go with probably Lola. I really like Lola's design. I think she's a really cool caddy. I mean, I would probably put down Tiki or Bree just because, or Cardio or whatever you want to call her, just because they're kind of classics as well. But there's something about Lola. I remember I had her in season 2. She was really fun. So those are my 3 answers. For mascots, I mean, there's not many mascots that you can choose from. My number 1 mascot would definitely have to be the Blue Hatto bird. I know it's very and not a lot of people know about it unless you play Panga Celebrity or Panga Japan. because really they only came out on a few servers and they were incredibly hard to get. I believe in Korea you could only get the Hatto Bird mascot if you actually played at specific computer cafes over there, which was absolutely crazy. For my 3 favorite club sets, I would probably have to go the Magic Wand club set, the Umbrella club set, and the... let's see. Oh, see, this is a tough decision. I'd probably have to say the Exceed Voice Clubs as my 3rd one as well, because I've always loved voice clubs for one, and the other 2 club sets, the Umbrella ones and the Magical Wand ones, have, again, unique particle effects when you swing, which is really, really cool, and I really want more of that, Panga. Please make more of that, because it looks incredibly cool, and it makes the club sets feel rare, so it's a much better incentive to actually get them. And finally, 3 custom Panga hit logos that are my favorites. I would say, again, the logo for the Magical Wand Club, maybe the logo for the Japanese Voice Club, which is the standard one, the Miracle Voice Club. That logo looks really good, and it's also related to Super Swing Golf Season 2 in Japan, so I really like that. And my 3rd one would probably have to be maybe the Chocolate Club Set logo. I really like that one. It's a bit simplistic, but I think it looks really nice. So those are my picks. You guys should comment below on your picks too, because I would love to know that too. So thank you so much, Princess Koo, for asking that question. A huge shout out to you, because you've been incredibly awesome the last few days on the Discord channel on Panga Celebrity. And shout out to anyone that I've met on Panga Celebrity in like the last few months. I mean, Chocobo Baby, Lucky, Ranu, obviously, KO, and obviously the 2 main ones, Leia and Don. You guys are absolutely incredible, and Panga Celebrity is absolutely incredible. If you guys have not checked it out, please go check it out in the description below. It's an incredible server, and it's got the full Papel Podcast approval stamp, so definitely check it out. And we've got lots of stuff coming in the future, so please look forward to it. So speaking about Panga Celebrity, I've also got something that I kind of want to share off. I can't talk too much about it right now, but I will just display this on screen and you guys can kind of gather what you want from it, and I can say 100% that at a later time we'll talk a bit more in depth about it, but since it is a special 400 subscriber video, I'd like to share a bit something special, a bit something exclusive, so please enjoy and tell me what you think it might be below, and I'll see what you guys think. So really, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching episode 39 of Papel Podcast. I really can't tell you how much I truly appreciate each and every one of you. You guys have changed my life. It's really been incredible. Like, I truly mean that. Like, I can't even put it into words. It's really insane. I never expected this podcast to become what it has, and I'm so incredibly proud of it. I'm so incredibly proud of each and every one of you for sticking around this long. It's nearly been 5 years, and when we do get to that 5-year mark, I'll be sure to do a special video again. And our content keeps growing, our fan base keeps growing, and really Papel Podcast as a whole is really starting to grow, especially in the last year or so. It's been really fun, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So from the bottom of my heart, again, thank you guys so much. I love you all. Like, it's really fun. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.